Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Ex-husband and affair partner getting married. Need support. 14 years into my marriage, and into what I thought had been one of our happiest years, my husband had an emotional affair with a married woman. They were belay partners during the day while I was working, going to school, or caring for our 2 children. Just 3 weeks into knowing one another they left their spouses and started a life together, but not after spreading so many lies about the state of our marriage, that we were just roommates, I wasn't supportive, our marriage had been dead, all lies. We divorced just 3 months later, a week after our 15th anniversary. Now, 3 years later, they are engaged. I have had a lot of therapy and struggled with severe depression during this time period, but have worked very hard to make sure my kids are having a wonderful life, to the extent that I have made pains not to speak poorly about the ex and the girlfriend in front of them. They deserved to be able to feel like they can love those 2 without somehow feeling like they are betraying me. Well, now they absolutely love her and have a fully formed family. Their engagement has suddenly put legitimacy around how they started their relationship with others. As though what they did to create their relationship was somehow okay because they ended up together. It makes me feel like a throwaway human, easily replaceable. It's as though my pain is no longer valid because they were meant to be. It's hitting me really hard. And, quite frankly, I have so many feelings about this being unfair. Why do they get the happy ending and the family that I once had? Why did they get to be the affair exception to the rule and not only stay together but thrive? And why the hell do I still feel this level of pain 3 years later? I feel as though I'm the only one being punished here, and for something I didn't do. Anyone else been in a similar circumstance? Same story with my friend. They got engaged weeks after the divorce affair had been going on for years. Her family was on board 100% and gave them some legitimacy. Married within 8 months, she was then 6 months pregnant. Nearly destroyed my friend and his family, all sorts of stupid stories about him. He just kept soldiering on. The AP cleaned out her bank accounts and disappeared a week before his baby girl was born. After that, her life went totally downhill. Her family took in the baby and she ended her life 2 years after the divorce on what would have been my friend's 11th wedding anniversary. She tried to get in contact with him that night and didn't know what was said. She had been a wonderful person until her affair. I bumped into her a week before she died. Now I'm loyal to my friends 100%, but when we talked I saw firsthand what cheating does to a person. All she wanted to do was talk about her life before her divorce, not about her child or her future. She had tried to get back into his life, but he wasn't having any of it, as was his right. He moved on eventually and is happily married with 2 boys now. He put flowers on her grave on her birthday. He says it's the least he can do, but he has never forgiven her. Oh man, that is heartbreaking. Watching it was. The result wasn't expected. She did a terrible thing and dragged his name through the dirt. Nobody wanted her dead, but she realized what she had done. I believe she thought that she had to be punished and she did it. We attended her funeral, but my wife said she died the day she divorced. That's a hell of a story, and very sad for the kid who in the end will have to live without his mommy. Sad for everyone. She and my wife were friends for a long time. After her affair, she couldn't stand by and watch her wreck her life. She warned her what would happen, not the suicide but the other things. She lost her friends and job. Sadly, the girl lives with her brother's family and she seems like a fine, happy little girl in the picture of her mom. Well, the little girl seems to be happy, and that's the only thing that counts in the end. Did the AP ever show up after she died? He didn't show for his daughter's birth and he didn't show for the funeral, and he better not ever show up here. His family got a lot of blowback over this sorry episode. Some lost jobs and had to leave town, so I guess that he will never be seen again. Time will tell if they are the exception. You mentioned that these 2 broke up 2 families, hurt 2 other people, and spread lies about your relationship. I imagine there was some revisionist history on her marriage too, so that would be a significant karmic load on the wife as well. What's homily? If they'll cheat with you, they'll cheat on you. Do you have significant custody of your children? There will come a time when your children are old enough to realize what happened and who drove it. Your love for them and care for them will be the basis of their love for you, and finally, as older teens or young adults, they will figure it out. Be of good cheer. Look to your own life and love, and know that whatever you develop will have been based on honor, honesty, and truth. These are things that while they can claim, they will never actually own. Wishing you happy healing and a calm center. What you feel and what is the truth are two separate things. I am not saying that to invalidate your feelings, but to say you don't have to choose to feel like you are a throwaway human, easily replaceable. Please stop this thinking. It's simply not true. Also, anyone who isn't a cheater themselves and knows the truth about these two is thinking, yeah, but it's still kinda ducked up when they think of their relationship. They are just being polite. I know you want people to shun them, I get it. I think that is well within your rights, but that is just not how human beings work. Most people will take the path of least resistance because they have to worry about the day-to-day stuff of life. So they will smile and say that's nice, while thinking, glad I'm not marrying one of these two assholes. Or making jokes like, how long do you think it will last, over under? Trust me. Moving forward, there are going to be a lot of posts of sympathy and comfort for your pain. Read those posts first. I also sympathize too. Please don't think I am not, but I think you need a little pep talk as well. Maybe that is my role here. I am writing this because I am further out than most here, and I hate to see people stuck and write like you do, when I know you can and will have great joy in your life again if you choose to move on. Now you have to stop this. You have to regroup. Not saying that it isn't unfair. It is absolutely unfair. But life is unfair. You can't stop because of that though. Your life is only over if you let it be. There is a time to mourn and a time to move forward. They are getting married and it's okay to mourn again, and rail against how unfair it is. Scream your head off if you want, but let it be short-lived. Remember, they are marrying each other, two unrepentant well-known cheaters, so maybe you should laugh a little too. I bet no one couldn't pay you to go out on a date with an unrepentant cheater, let alone marry one, right? Maybe they deserve each other, at least they are not out there ruining everyone else's lives. This next thing I'm telling you because I truly believe it. Getting over it is a choice. You have to make a decision, we all did. There is a moment where you say to yourself, I am sick of crying over this asshole. Force yourself to think of something else, snap a rubber band if you need to in the beginning. But you can't accept that this is the end of your life. You are going to have to do this. Do it for your kids if you don't have the strength to do it for yourself. Do it because you have worth. Up your whole worth. Your whole life cannot be tied to this one person who abused you by cheating on you. Please stop it. It just can't be. Don't believe. Stop letting that guy define your future. Every time you think this way, please remind yourself whose opinion you are making the most important in your life. Why? Don't you get a say? Doesn't everyone else? There are tens of thousands of people out there to edify and bring joy to your life. Don't give up on them because one guy turned into a jerk. You were a faithful wife for 15 years and would have been forever. You did good, you were a good wife. That means something. That is important. That means you will be of high value. But you have to believe it. More and more I read posts on here and other sites by men who were cheated on and are so sad they are giving up. They don't believe you are out there. It breaks my heart because I know my sisters, my wife, they are all such good women. You are that kind of woman, but if you give up there is no chance that you can be one of the ones to change someone's life. That is just too much of a shame. We can't live in the world where people do evil stuff to good people and then the good people just give up. Mourn and scream for a little while, but don't you think it's time to find your courage and start moving forward too? Remember, courage is not being scared or in pain, it is being scared and in pain on still moving forward. If you do that, I promise you, your heart will catch up and have joy again. Again, if not for you, do it for your kids, do it as an act of being a mother. Your kids are gonna need a happy and healthy one. I am not saying that to guilt you, but to help give you strength. Moving forward can be an act of love for them. But do this, it's worth it. I promise you, as someone fully recovered, there is so much reason to have hope. Wow. I'm going to have to chew on this a little bit. I think you're right, and that's a hard truth. On some level I must be choosing to be upset. Haha, I probably revised it like 15 times since you posted this, so maybe read it again tomorrow. It will be like reading it again, ha. My friend, it's not about choosing to be upset, it's about choosing to live life again. Remember before you met him, when your life was about hoping for your future and about what your life would be. I know it was over 15 years ago, but you can go back to that hope again. It takes some faith, I get it, but isn't it better to have faith in your future than just mourning your past? Like, you know, it is possible you could have a great future, maybe even be romantic in it too. Maybe it will be better. People who cheat generally are selfish and are not great spouses even before that. Besides that, you got kids who are going to grow up and bring new people and even possibly new life into your life. There is a lot to look forward to. Your life is far from over. Take some courage and some hope. The chances are good if you work on it and keep moving forward. Everyone who has gone through what you are now, at least the unfairness part, and gotten over it, had a moment of clarity where they said, nope, I am not doing it, not thinking about this today, just can't do it. That is how it starts. You got to get sick of being sad. Believe what I say. Everyone who has gotten over this has lived it. We all know, you will have joy again. What you said about people always remembering is so very true. I have neighbors who seem like lovely people. Their daughter is my daughter's best friend. But I also know, because we work in the same industry and people talk, that they are together because the wife cheated on her previous husband with her current husband. And I have to say, especially as someone whose previous marriage ended because of infidelity, that will always color how I feel about them to some extent. Update: they broke up. I supported AP, like an idiot, they secretly got married. Rant original post, here. In September of last year, AP seemed like an absolute wreck and asked to come to my place to talk. I had been keeping my distance from her, but she is a person with heavy involvement in my kids' lives, and if she was experiencing something difficult enough that she'd come to me, of all people, I should at least listen. Such an idiotic mistake. She told me that my ex-husband had been gaslighting her, that he had promised her children and immediately gone back on that once engaged, and she wanted to leave but was torn about the impact on the kids. I told her that it's her decision, but if she leaves again to not come back. The last time she left was devastating to my kids. She also expressed that her parents kept trying to get her to leave because they worried about her mental safety, thinking my ex is a narcissist. He is, and no, he isn't safe, but up to that point she seemed to be the same. She went on about all the love bombing and apologizing for her part in my pain. Apparently getting to that point made her realize what I had experienced and that I wasn't the villain he had portrayed me to be. She ended up leaving my ex and moving to Florida. She messages me a lot at first for support. She talked about the crazy things he was saying and doing to try to get her back, all while he had already started a new relationship immediately. She was grateful to have someone who understood what it was like to have been in a complex, emotionally abusive relationship style like his. We weren't friends, I'll say that. It was more like a support group style chat. Once she settled in and started dating, she checked in about once a month. I last heard from her in mid-April. She and her BF had broken up. My ex had also broken up with the new woman, who he had already introduced the kids to, and he had been sending her messages again. She was upset, but said she blocked him. Then late May I received a message from her that earlier in the month, after transformative time apart, she and my ex had secretly gotten married. The kids were being told about it the same time I was, and she was driving to Colorado to move in the next day. On the kid pickup day I asked if we could all talk. Obviously what's done is done, but I wanted to tell them that I worry about them doing this cycle of leaving again to the kids, and to talk about our parenting schedule. When she left I agreed to a temporary schedule where I had the kids more often while my ex figured out some things. The ex then called me controlling for making him go back to our legal schedule and said, deep breath, that the reason they didn't work out the first time was because I made it hard for them, and if I don't want the kids to experience something like her leaving again, then I shouldn't make it hard for them this time. She then chimed in that I simply don't want him to be happy and never have. That all she said when she left was just words out of a place of sadness and needing support, but she didn't mean them. She was basically using my own trauma and experience in my divorce and twisting it to make me sympathetic to her and use me for support, which makes no sense to me. Why try to keep contact with me like this if you weren't experiencing these things? I lost my shit. Yelled and screamed like a crazy person. I've never done that before. I was furious that they would blame all of their difficulties in a relationship that came out of both of them cheating on their spouses, on me not making it easier for them, and also putting their future success on my shoulders. My ex has always put everything that makes his life difficult for him as being my fault, always, and that was part of his abuse. It still hits me in a hard way and he knows it. I absolutely hate that I gave them the fuel they need to paint a picture that I'm crazy and they are somehow the heroes of their story. The worst part is that the kids heard me yelling. That hurt so badly. I never want them to feel the pain that comes from interparent yelling like I was doing. My ex and the AP then made me apologize to the kids for my behavior, which was demeaning. I always talk to my kids about things and would have discussed what I did and said and how I felt. Gave them room to talk about how they felt and may have been hurt, on my own and without them standing over me. But, they need the story framed a certain way. Then AP sends me an email saying she appreciated my support and understands why I may feel the way I do, but that she's in it for the long haul and will be the best stepmom ever. I ignored it. Anyway, that's the update. I feel angry and emotional and really sad that this circus is my life until the kids are adults. Stop engaging with them. Stop talking to them. Only communicate via a co-parenting app. Stop letting your hurt and your pain fuel their fire. They are not good people. They never have been and they never will be. Supporting AP was a mistake. She's a liar and a cheat. I'm so sorry you had to learn this the hard way. Going forward, don't respond to anything that is not directly about the children. I only communicate with my ex though talking parents, and it was that way with AP, too, until this happened. I completely agree with you about only responding to things about the kids. It was a hard lesson to learn. I always believed that people are multifaceted, not all bad or all good, but this was a big lesson for me. You're a good person and judged them by your own standards. Unfortunately, they're nothing like you. Revert back to how you previously communicated and focus on yourself and your kids. They sound like a hot mess, and next time they break up, ignore them both. Duck that grey rock from here on it. Stick to the legal agreement on custody. Or go back to court if needed. Block the AP. All discussions through X and treat all matter of fact like a business. Ignore all attempts to draw you into their drama. Grey rock the shit out of them. Absolutely. I'm going to have to buckle down in being a hard, bland grey rock. Edit, autocorrect. The thing about emotionally imbalanced co-parents is no amount of logic or emotion will impact their ability to interact with you in a healthy way. Which is why the grey rock is so important. They will temporarily increase the insanity in an effort to gauge a reaction. But if you keep it up, eventually they'll give up, since the punching bag doesn't respond. Give yourself a coping method. Journal what you want to say back to them. Or work out, yoga, etc. Respond how you want to respond without responding directly to them. And apologize to your kids. It's okay to admit you were wrong and will work harder to avoid the drama. Respond with love where love is needed. Everyone thinks they are special. Their cheater, their situation, their ability to deal with disordered people, their moral correctness in choosing to work with the cheater/AP/everyone else's opinions. No one cares about you but you. And if you are extremely lucky, maybe some family members and 1 or 2 friends. The only people we should put in front of ourselves consistently is our kids and those few people from time to time. I just don't understand the hubris of people who come to this sub and other support sites and read the posts from all types of people who get treated like garbage at every available opportunity by cheaters and APs but still think, "Oh, not me. I'm different." No, you aren't. My husband's AP was fully integrated into my 3-year-old's life the minute I told him to GTFO. 5 years later she is still there, now living there. The idea that I would speak to, much less support that female in any way is hysterical. How can you try to engage with people who are 100% in denial of reality? Why would you? I'm not trying to beat up on you, more for others reading this. You aren't special when it comes to what cheaters and APs will do. Think you are? Prepare for more pain/drama. Yup, time to stop talking to them about anything other than the kids. Lesson learned. They are narcissists who don't know when to take responsibility for their own actions. Don't worry, this relationship is a dumpster fire and I don't see it lasting long at all. Get a parenting app and only to them regarding your kids. They both seem toxic and they will be on a roller coaster to disaster. Try not to ever lose your cool. Avoid them both. You may have made a mistake, but you made it out of a good heart and kindness. There is nothing wrong with that. My advice is to be the steady one for your kids. Those two are going to do whatever they do. You stay constant and your kids will know that they can always depend on you, and that will mean the world to them. I saw you already talked about Grey Rock, and that's all you have to do. You've got a good heart up. Don't let those idiots anywhere near it. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.